okay, so the Unbroken and Fall on Proverb 7" is the first 3-1G release. And basically I didn't think like I need to start a record label or I want to start a record label. It kind of just happened out of necessity. And also Eric Allen was the one that kind of instigated it. So the timing is sort of strange because I feel like what prompted it was that him and I's Swing Kid 7" was on this label called Kidney Room. And no offense to Razzle Spooner who released that, it was just a bit of a drag for us. I think by him and I talking, we were like, I just said I should just do my own label or whatever. So he was like, check it out, we have these 2 Unbroken songs, you want to release them? And I was like, well, yeah. And that kind of, really propelled me into like figuring out how to start a record label, which I never really knew how to do. I just thought like, okay, I think you just pay for manufacturing and then when you just see, see what happens. And at the time, they were active and I figured they could just sell them. So, I mean, Eric was pretty, he was pretty odd, but he was also like completely awesome. So like he had a very specific idea and I don't know if my idea was the same exact thing. I kind of liked how a lot of the Unbroken stuff looked. Like it was very, professional. Like it wasn't a fold over sleeve and it was like very like a real record label. And I wanted to do that, but he wanted like the complete opposite. He wanted it to look like a fold over cover and be kind of,
DIY looking or something.
Yeah. And also too, like the rubber stamp thing was cool, but it was a total ripoff of what Vinyl Communications was doing. So like with Force Down, and I forgot what else, like mainly the Force Down 7" was all rubber stamps. And I was like, okay, well, let's just do that thing that everybody else already did, and he was always like coming over and like wanting to put the records together and stuff. And it was cool and fun. And so whatever reason, like, he would take the rubber stamp and like just stamp, like, okay, so, this one's obviously like, this is the quintessential one. It's like straight, but he would just do it like shitty and like, kind of just be like, and like, and like move on to the next one. And I'm like, dude, that's not going to work, man. Like, I can't handle that, And so at the same time I was, I had a friend who worked at Kinko's and we were just copying them for free. So occasionally we get these like random colors printed and I'm like, fuck, man, like I don't really want a blue cover or like I don't really want yellow or whatever. But then Eric would fuck up all these covers. And so I'd kind of be like, oh, I need 10 more. Let's just use these blue ones real quick, because I would throw away some of the really shitty ones that he would stamp and stuff. And then at some point he started like gluing stuff to the covers and I was like, oh yeah, that's fine too. But I don't know if like it needs to be kind of cool looking or like relevant or also strategically placed. And so I kept running into all these problems with his shenanigans. So there's that. And I think you have some of these weird ones that I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like, I don't even think I've seen that. And then the other main issue was like, I never had a logo. So I was kind of just like, oh, what, I don't know what to do. And it became that it was like that fucking stupid Star Wars logo. And then I immediately cringed at it and then corrected it and started making my own logo. So I don't know, like I just kept seeing all these crazy pictures of things that you owned online. And I was like, where is he getting this shit, man? Like, because, I don't know where the records went. I mean, I sold them to a handful of distributors and I think I probably sold them on tour. I don't know if Unbroken actually ended up touring, after that 7" came out. I think the band, split up for a bit there, or, and then eventually Eric passed away. So I don't know, man. I'd love to like go through what you have and then try to like see if it makes sense or why. And then, but with that being said, like I would also like to know what your reason for what you do is, because
to start off with the importance of Unbroken, I was going through a pretty dark time in my life and, I was isolated overseas. I was living in Okinawa at the time. And when I came across Unbroken, which was somebody introduced me with their Life, Love, Regret album. And then I was down in Naha in a record store. And ironically enough, I came across the Lost and Found Fall on Proverb CD. And I already loved Unbroken from Life, Love, Regret, but especially the Fall on Proverb song, the way that it like really hums on the guitar when it first starts off, and then that bass line that Rob brings in, that really like grabbed me, and just I was really into black metal at the time, and this was kind of a hardcore reach into that sort of similar emotional darkness and stuff. And so it really connected at the time. There was a connection with the music that made me try and seek out some of the vinyl of it. And then once I started getting onto Instagram and seeing some of these other collectors, their variants that they were popping up with, like Guido and Ferry and those guys, I was like, wow, there's so much out there, and it just became an obsession almost. I got 48 copies of that 7-inch, like I've said, and each one has something different about it. Some reason why I went out and got out of my way to get it. Like you mentioned, there's different like colors, different logo stamps, different. I've got some with the stickers on them, some with the different colored logo stamps, with some of the pictures that he inserted in it. So each time something unique pops up, I'll reach out to the seller and see if they have, something interesting about it, and I'll pick it up if it does. Or if it's something like 2 logo stamps, which I already have several of, I'll let somebody else know, one of the other collectors, and that, so we've formed kind of a little community for collecting all these little Unbroken variants, not just for the and Fallen Proverb, but the Blood Link split with Groundworks got a lot of variants out there. I think my first one that really caught my eye was some guy in South America. He had a back stamp. There's a little back stamp that's got a UFO on it, and that one was my first like variant that I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
But that one, I was like, that's not something I'd ever seen before. So I picked that one up, and I have not seen it since. That's the only one I've seen with that stamp on it. I've seen some with pink star. So Eric obviously went crazy with this one and stamped a ton of stars on it. So I picked up all those. Each variant that I come across that's interesting, I just have to grab. It's just, like I said, it's almost an obsession for me.
But it's funny because you mentioned like the blood link stuff too, because that was also a reason why, a big reason why we ended up starting, why I ended up starting 31G, or why Eric, pushed me to it, because I don't want to say no offense to Scott Bybin, but kind of offense to Scott Bybin. He completely like would just change the design and shit of some of his stuff, or like never account. But with some of those stamps, like the UFO one and the star one, we had, Eric and I lived with a friend of ours, Jessica Benuelos, and she had like shit around like rubber stamps, like, and so I think like Eric was just adding stuff to those covers, based on like what was in the house, and that was kind of like it's fine, but like for me, like I made it a point to get rid of that stuff. I didn't want to have copies, like the one I showed you, it's like the quintessential cover, like I don't want like, it has like the actual real logo. Like I don't want the other stuff because I'm like, oh, it's gross, or like not gross, or like, oh, it's like wrong, or like it was like, half-assed or weird or whatever. So like I would just rather have like one archival thing. I'm not a collector like you, obviously, so if I was, I would have fucked myself up and like never sold the records. I would have been like, oh, I'll just make like 1,000 different covers and then hold on to all the records. Diving into like what the importance of Unbroken is probably like a pretty massive topic, which initially I didn't even think we would even talk about that. I thought we would just strictly just go through your your stock, but like the importance of the band to me is monumental, and same to you, obviously, but it was funny how like the style infiltrated the artwork on this record, because again, like you look at like, the first 7-inch is pretty typical looking of like a hardcore band, and then I think, Life Love Regret obviously was like they had it figured out, and it was pretty rad. And there was also the weird like Swing Kids movie still reference, which which was cool, but it just made everything seem like really made everything kind of like fit together, I suppose, like a puzzle,
Well, I would say yes to all those things, because at that time when I was discovering Unbroken, I was also very into discovering the Smiths, and Swing Kids had a real big impact on me right around that time. The movie, and with that whole, even though it was before that time. It had a real punk rock kind of attitude, anthem feel to it. It spoke to that side of me, the antisocial / rebellion, side. And then Unbroken comes along, and then they have all those things mashed up into one. It was just the perfect, conglomeration of elements, and their aesthetic too. The black and white and the darkness of Life, Love, Regret. And then I really love the artwork for the split with Avananda, but just their artwork in general, not excluding You Won't Be Back and Ritual. Those, like you said, are typical, but after that, there's a certain aesthetic that has changed with them, once they really found themselves. I still listen to that record,
Yeah.
Probably once a week or so.
I mean, those two songs are killer, and it was like an honor to release it. It's such a crazy thing to think like that was the first, release on 3-1G. It was like, became such a monumental record, not because of 3-1G, but because of those two songs. Like, I think they're probably I don't want to say that they're the best songs, but like that thing, like the 7-inch as its own, was like such a substantial and kind of like pivotal thing for the time. Like, it made a lot of sense, and it was ahead of its time. And I think by the time everybody caught up to it, were like, oh fuck this, you can't mess with this. Like, it's not, it's kind of like it's like a flawless record. And I'm not saying that on 3-1G's part. I'm saying that on Unbroken's part, and Eric's vision of how he wanted everything to look. It made sense. At the time, I was kind of confused and just like, oh, whatever. Like, I love the band and Eric's my best friend. Like, we'll just do whatever you want. But I if it was up to me, it would have looked like, fuck, I don't know what it would have looked like. It would have just looked a lot different. It would have been like a bit slicker and stuff. Kind of like how maybe not slicker, but like a bit, maybe more like something that would be released on Ebullition. That was kind of like my goal, I guess, with like quality wise. And I think, again, like Eric was like stuck on like maybe not vinyl communications, but like really kind of into like what Forced Down and Amenity kind of vibe was, whatever, which I think is awesome, totally relevant, and like that shit's great. I mean, I was, when I got that Forced Down 7-inch, I was fucking blown away, musically, but also just, I was like, holy shit, they made a record cover with rubber stamps. It was such a strange thing. And like, yeah, then we just bit the idea, I guess my point was like, I tried to mesh it into something else, and like maybe like push it along in a different way. Obviously after Eric passed away, and I asked the rest of the band, like, hey, we're going to repress this. Can we do like a binded record cover? Cause that's always what I wanted to do, and everybody was open to it. And I think that was kind of like the way I really wanted it to look. And the fact that like the later versions, that were, let's see, like, like on the black cover, this is what I like envisioned, I think, at the start, like, oh, it'll look like this, and it'll be like, a real cover with an insert. But Eric just wanted it to be DIY, and that was fine, but everything was like that at the time, And one of my favorite records of all time was the first Anti-Archero record, which was like just spray painted, folded over piece of cardboard. And that shit is like, in retrospect, like probably the coolest cover you could have come up with, and that was what Eric wanted. And I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, I have 5 regular copies of the 7-inch, and then 1 test pressing, or maybe 2 test pressings. And that's it, and I don't really want any more. And I don't think we'll repress it ever again. So it's funny that like, it's just funny or interesting that like someone has, what do you have, 48 or 40, what'd you say?
48.
Yeah, 48 copies, it's awesome.
And of course, I expect it to grow. I still need some, like the original test press for it. I've seen some other stamp versions out there that I would love to work their way to my collection. Like there's one that I've seen that's got like these heart stamps, and it spells out a word or something like that.
Whoa.
Like, I love somebody's name or something. I forget what it said. And it's just a trip when you see some of these out there that you're just like, what was he thinking when he did that?
Yeah.
And
we had like a stack of covers, and so he would do shit, and I'd be going like, what the fuck, man? Like, what are you doing to that one? And then he'd just shove it in the pile, and I'd be like, dude, like, you know, I mean, I could have sifted through it and found it, but he was like trying to like just do shit and sneak it in and like not let me know, you know, and that's kind of rad in itself. But I was trying to do like some sort of quality control, you know. I mean, my OCD and anal retentiveness of art and stuff, I was just like, I don't know if that can happen. But I mean, I tried to always kind of keep it 31G vibe, like or like early Locust kind of stuff, like because a lot of them was like, when I was making flyers, so I was like, I had all these like scientific books, like weird insects or like, you know, sci-fi shit or whatever, or like biological stuff, you know. And so, but he was always doing like, he was always just randomly doing whatever, like spelling shit in hearts and stuff. You know, like I'm like, no, dude, it's got to be like tough. Like you're fucking, you guys are like a tough straight edge band. Like, come on, like keep it, you know, don't get soft on us here. Which was funny because, you know, that was the thing. It was like this juxtaposition to the, you know, like the way they sounded obviously was like this tough, you know, metal kind of like, you know, hardcore, and we were the complete opposite, you know. And so I don't know. I mean, maybe he was rubber stamping shit with his, you know, partner at the time or so. I don't know. I'm not sure what he was doing, you know, but it maybe made it like cuter or funner or softer or something, you know.
Yeah.
So, but man, I don't know. I'd love to see what you have if you wanna go through them.
Let's see. I picked out some of the special ones. I got 3 with the stickers. I like to call them the sticker ones. There's this one. It's got like some subatomic cell pictures. This one's got a sticker of a plane.
That one's pretty rad. Those are pretty rad.
And then this one's got a picture of the Earth from the moon.
That's awesome. I mean, that seems so crazy. That seems like all the shit that I would have. Like I would go to the, I mean, there's no offense to the library, but I would go to the library and like just steal like cool art, you know, like out of books and shit. Like physically rip pages out. It's totally bad. But at the time that we needed all that stuff, you know, to make flyers and artwork and stuff. But so all those things are just, it's just, we just would get glue, you know, like glue sticks and glue stuff on. We'd also steal the glue sticks from Kinko's.
Yeah, I've seen one. Her tag is vinyl denim, and she has one with this like a beehive, some bees hatching out of a hive.
Whoa.
You know, an artistic drawing of that, and then somebody else has a picture of a map or something like that on theirs.
I mean, each one is that's it. There's like, that's one of a kind, I guess. So I guess it's kind of cool.
And that for a long time, a sticker one was for a long time my white whale for the and Fallen Proverb 7-inch. But you know, once I got one, then magically 2 more popped up in quick succession. I got both of them. And that's probably the most expensive one I've picked up, is that one with the airplane sticker on it. No, I'm sorry, the other one with the picture of the Earth to the moon. You know, that one I think I paid like 150 for, something like that.
Which kind of sucks. I mean, it sucks for you, but just kind of sucks in general. It's like, you got to think, like at the time, vinyl manufacturing was, I mean, those things were like probably 98 cents for the record, and the covers were all stolen, you know, like we would scam them from Kinko's. So like,
I wouldn't pay that now probably for it, but the reason I did at the time was that, like I said, that was my white whale.
Sure.
And that was the first sticker one I got, and then somebody in Canada was selling it, and so I was like, do I really want to spend this much on it? I'm like, but I never see them pop up anywhere. I got to get it while I got an opportunity. It's like with any of these records, like one of my current white whale for that, for Unbroken 7-inches, is the Ati wedding edition of the Fall on Dagenham 7-inch.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen it twice in other people's collections, and I know the last one sold for $1,500. No way I could afford that ever.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know, like I feel like we all did it for different reasons, you know, like Unbroken didn't do it for money, you know. I mean, so it seems weird that like that would happen, you know. I mean, and again, like I'm grateful for where I come from. I'm grateful that Unbroken is from here, and I think it's cool that we were all influenced by like those sort of ideas of vinyl communications and Gravity Records, where it was just making crazy weird shit, you know. I mean, if it wasn't for those 2 labels, that Unbroken 7-inch would have been completely different, you know. I mean, it probably would have looked like a fucking bootleg Bloodlink thing or something, you know. It wouldn't have been like DIY. I mean, essentially it is like rubber stamps and fold over covers and shit is that, you know. So what else do you have? I mean, you have 48. So
So this is a yellow cover with a red logo stamp. So double whammy there for the red logo and the yellow cover. Blue cover with gray logo stamp, not the silver logo stamp. Right now we're just going through the different types of the paper that the cover's made out of.
yeah.
This is like a white parchment kind of paper. It's hard to see in this image, but and this is more of a yellowy, peachy cover parchment paper. And of course, you got your standard white. That's 4 logo stamps on that one too. And then standard black, 2 logo stamps, white logo stamp.
And so the black ones are that one's like a fold over cover, right?
Yep. This is the different vinyl versions. You got the gold vinyl, pink vinyl, marbled clear white and black with 6 logo stamps.
Okay.
The gray marble vinyl. And then of course you've got the the standard black vinyl. That's actually where I got started with collecting these, is I had to get all the different vinyl versions.
Colors,
and then I started getting into the stamp versions.
I mean, the color vinyl is like, that's the thing. Like everybody, that's like the obvious collector thing. But then the cover shit just fucked everything up, I think. So the pink ones were made for that show that was like Eric's kind of memorial show that happened in
November 2808 one.
Yeah. And we sold most of them there. And then I think the money went towards this plaque in San Diego in Balboa Park. It's a really nice plaque for Eric. Almost all of them sold. We had a few left that were from there. So that was kind of cool. The other ones were just random. I mean, the gold one was the last one we did. And it's funny because I don't think there's an insert in them, which is fucked up. And I don't know how that happened. Because we had a bunch of covers left and I was like, all right, let's just use the covers. I mean, mine has an insert, but a lot of them didn't have inserts. And I was like kind of bummed on that. Because the inside of it's like Eric's writing. Anyhow, that's Eric's handwriting too. All the shitty handwriting, which is great. Yeah, let's see what else you have then. I would love to see your other ones.
So these are just some various multiple logo stamps. You got 5, 8, no logo stamp, and then this one it might be hard to see because of the glare, but this is 3 logo stamps, but it's also got what we call the grid pattern.
Oh yeah.
So it's got all these little lines and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I've got 2 or 3 versions with that on there, especially including the new gold repress. I have a copy with that on there.
Gold and
Yep, exactly.
So this one is like my favorite kind of like version of everything, because I think the gold's cool. It like kind of was classy and it kind of made sense. But this stamp thing was something that someone gave to me, and I was like, that shit looks weird. And I was a big damn. So these are like identical. That's cool. So that was kind of like, I think my favorite one. If it was up to me, I would have made the record look like that, all the time.
Well, I remember when we found out that there was a version of the repress with that on there, several of us were emailing you saying, hey, dig through your thing and pull them out for us.
Yeah.
So we could get a copy with the grid pattern on it.
Yeah. I mean, also they went to our distributor or our web store or something. So I was like, I don't know if I have them, I mean, I try not to hold on to things kind of for that, I mean, not that I don't want to hook up my, my friends or people that are like collectors, but I like the fact that it's just random and goes out there into the world. This one's weird too. I don't even remember us repressing that on that color. And it doesn't have a big hole. It doesn't have the 45 hole.
So this is blue logo stamp with probably Eric Allen's handprint on the back.
Yeah.
This one's gonna be tough to see because the stamp is on the picture thing, but this is a gold logo stamp. And this is even weirder. This is a gold logo stamp that transitions into bronze at one.
Whoa. So it's like a rainbow or something.
Yeah, it's like gold, bronze, gold, bronze.
Yeah.
This is, of course, the 31G repress test. This one has the, I don't know if you can see that, the Fuck Lost and Found
Oh, yeah,
right there.
yeah.
And it also included a picture of Eric Allen and
Oh, Jessica, yeah, that's the one that we lived with, and she had all this random shit that we'd stamp.
that's one of those.
It's a rad photo.
This one had this picture in it.
Yeah, that's our friend Ivy. I don't know whose car that is.
And then probably the coolest insert thing was this one, which comes with one of the pictures from the, it's not one of that was actually used, but it's from that same reel, it looks like.
Oh yeah. I can't tell what the photo is.
It's really hard to see.
Yeah.
It looks like there's a crowd at a live show in a record store.
Oh yeah, I do understand. Yeah. So I think that was at maybe at Off the Record. But the photos on the cover are from different shows. The negatives. And actually those negatives on the cover are cut up, because some are like the one of Eric is vertical and the other ones are horizontal. So yeah, it's kind of weird.
I think those are my standout copies, you know, the different colors, the different logo stamps. With the numbered logo stamps, I have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's how many different stamps of the logo are on each of those.
I think the only other thing I can remember are these stupid business cards that I kept putting in there.
So there's like 100 different versions of this, I think. You're referring to this one?
Yeah.
Not all of them have that, but most of them do.
Yeah. That was a sort of inspiration from like what Ebullition did, because Ken always put like his own Ebullition like insert, you know, into records. So I was like, that's kind of cool. Yeah, I think that was like my inspiration from that. So what do you like? Is there something you're looking for?
Any other sticker ones that come my way, I'll try and pick up, and then any ones that have stamps I don't have. I haven't seen any additional colored sleeves or colored stamps that I don't have. You know, like I said, anytime one pops up on like Discogs or something like that, somebody's selling one, I'm always like, send me pictures of it so I can see what it looks like, inside, outside sleeve. There was one that I ordered that I never got, and it had like a full handprint on it. Like he had got silver on his hand and held it and it just got lost in the mail from Europe. But,
I mean, I guess some of them probably came over to Europe with him and I when Swing Kids went, but that's pretty wild. I didn't even know about that, or I haven't never even seen that. If you find one for sale for a lot of money, can you tell me? Because I would like to just try to make them feel bad. Be like, hey, you know, what are you doing, man? Like, sell it to him for 99 cents or whatever. You know, our 250, I think, was the price that we sold them for originally. I think it says 250 on the back of some of them.
Yeah, I think there's 3 different logo versions on the back with that.
That's kind of a Discord thing, you know, where it always said like pay no more than $5 or whatever. So it's kind of just like, oh yeah, we're supposed to put the price on the record sleeve.
Yeah, of course, the original 250 one.
Oh yeah.
And then you've got the professional one that doesn't even have a price. And then there's another one that has 350 on it. There it is. It's $3. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
This is the other one, $3. So I think there's 3 different versions of that on the back of the 7-inch.
It's pretty wild. I think, you know, that was the goal, you know, like I think maybe with Discord was so people wouldn't, you know, pay or charge more than a certain amount, you know. And I think definitely Unbroken and 31G and myself were all very influenced by Discord stuff too, and those ethics, you know, like those kind of Fugazi ethics were a really important thing. So let's see, if anybody sees this, can you tell them like how to reach you so they can sell you their copy for $150?
Yeah, they can contact me on Instagram at LifeBradRegret is my handle, or they can find me on some Facebook pages for hardcore that you can come across me in there.
Or they can reach out to 31G and we'll put them in touch with you, because I would like for you to get them at a decent price if there are any more, you know, because I'm always kind of thinking like, oh shit, you know, like there's that weird one, maybe he'd want that, you know, whatever. And then you end up, I think there's only one time where I saw one, and then I saw somewhere like on the thread, you ended up like buying it. So I was like, oh, okay, well, never mind. You know, he already got it. So,
well, and that's funny because in a lot of those when somebody posts those out there for sale or even just to show off, you know, a lot of us will tag each other in them. And so I'll, like, you know, open up Instagram in the morning and it'll be like, you've been tagged. And I'll look and it's somebody's, you know, Unbroken 7-inch or something like that. And I'll be like, cool. And they'll be like, or somebody's selling it, they'll be like, Brad, try and get this. Or they'll even message me if they see something pop up on eBay or Discogs that's interesting.
Huh.
So there's people out there that, you know, we help each other with our collections.
Well, it's awesome that you do that. It's flattering that, like, I mean, we know each other to an extent now, but it's flattering to, like, someone that I essentially didn't know bought and collected all these records, you know, that were just kind of like, I mean, we didn't think it out, you know, we just kind of were like, whatever, like, here's the thing. And then it resonated with you and all these different on all these different levels. And it's very, I'm very grateful that happened. And it's very, it's just awesome. It's cool that happened, that we made that kind of connection through something based in art, you know, and something that obscure art. With that being said, you know, it's really cool. So I'm grateful for that, for sure, man. It's pretty awesome.
Well, I'm grateful that you put that out into the world. You know, you help not just, I mean, obviously you're not an Unbroken, but you put your label together just for the 7-inch, you know, initially just for the 7-inch, and put it out there. And, you know, here I am 20 something years later, still trying to, you know, still consuming it like crazy.
Yeah. It's funny. God, there was this time where right when Swing Kids were going to Europe for our first tour ever, and we didn't even tour the US properly, our first full tour. Anyhow, we were going to Europe and we were trying, Eric was getting us to learn this Unbroken song that they never recorded. And it turned out that it was like a little bit too metal for us to play. But it was crazy because I don't know what was going on with the band, you know, like they were still a band, but Dave wasn't able to do stuff because I think of where he lived or something. I don't know. And Eric was like, we got to do a show and have you just sing. And I'm like, I'm not fucking singing in Unbroken, dude. Like, that will be so bad for me. Like, people will be so pissed at me, you know, and I wouldn't want to disrespect Dave, but it was like, I remember him trying to get Swing Kids to play the songs. And I was like, nah, I can't deliver like Dave, you know, there's no way. That was also very fucking flattering and crazy to like have him suggest that. But I'm glad it didn't happen, because it would have been something that it just shouldn't have happened, you know, so I'm glad that it didn't. But regardless, you're rad, and Unbroken is awesome, and I'm glad that they did what they did in this world, and it's cool, and it's good talking to you, man, and good seeing all that weird shit that you have. I'll keep an eye out for you.
Thanks, I appreciate that. It
Cool.
was great seeing you in person when we were out in San Diego.
Yeah, that was random, man. Next time you're out, we got to hang out. I guess maybe not at like an event, because there were so many people there at that bookstore. But all right, dude. All right. Well, thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay. Take care.
You too.